You disrespecting the badge? You don't want none of this.
Do you want to be eaten alive?
No, it's alive!
Go away!
Dude, what's yeah.
Yo, welcome to the Film Archives. I'm Dennis, and I break down movies here. That way I can answer the question, is it worth watching? I upload new videos every week, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. Today, we're going to be breaking down the 2006 masterpiece, Monster House, which is one of my favorite movies to watch around Halloween. Let's get into it. The movie starts off with just a whole mood. It's the day before Halloween, the leaves are changing color and falling, and it's really just the most perfect intro to any movie ever made. We see a little girl riding her tricycle throughout the neighborhood on the most perfect fall day. Soon into her bike ride, she rides onto the lawn of an elderly man by the name of Horace Nebbercracker.
Get off my lawn!
Unless she wants to be eaten alive. Like, buy me dinner first, you know what I'm saying? Shortly after, he winds up stealing the little girl's tricycle and he scares her away from his house. We are then introduced to our main character by the name of DJ. He has been spying and documenting everything that his elderly neighbor, Horace Nebbercracker, has been doing. He notes down the incident of Horace stealing the little girl's tricycle and scaring her away from his house. He then informs his mom of this, but of course, she doesn't believe him, which is just so 2006. Later that day, DJ's parents leave for a convention.
If anything happens, call the police and hide in your closet.
So they leave him in the care of his babysitter, whose name is Elizabeth, but she goes by Z.
It's Z.
She's an amazing babysitter, and let's be honest, animated goth chicks say less. We are then introduced to DJ's friend, whose name is Chowder. He goes to visit DJ, and they kind of have a conversation about trick-or-treating the next day, to which DJ says he's getting too old to trick-or-treat, and he's now an adult. So let me know down below in the comment section, what age did you guys stop trick-or-treating, or do you still trick-or-treat? So DJ and Chowder are playing basketball, and eventually they lose Chowder's basketball on DJ's neighbor's lawn, Mr. Nebbercracker. So basically, goodbye basketball, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. It's super sad. We then see the elderly neighbor, Horace Nebbercracker, stop both DJ and Chowder from retrieving the basketball. And while he's doing this, he actually suffers from a heart attack and is taken away in an ambulance. As he's being taken away in the ambulance, he drops a key onto his lawn, which will come into play later. DJ picks up the key, of course, and the two boys think that, Nebbercracker has just croaked. So they assume that he's dead. This is also where we get one of our first glimpses of the Monster House. The grass literally pulls the wheel off the gurney that Mr. Nebbercracker is being taken away on. But we'll find out a little bit later that this is actually more sweet than it is scary. If you know, you know. Later that night, Elizabeth, or Z, her boyfriend, comes over while she's babysitting DJ, and this guy's name is Bones, which is a pretty cool name. Also, he's kind of a bully, which is very 2006.
Happy Halloween, doofus!
Bones then tells Z about the time that Nebbercracker stole his kite when he was a young kid, and that he even has seen him talking to his house and kissing it. Bones decides to have himself a little wrestle with Z, and he's kind of fooling around with her, and of course this upsets Elizabeth, and she kicks Bones out. Just having himself a little wrestle.
Donald Trump, don't worry about my Hulkamaniacs.
As Bones is kicked out, he sees Mr. Nebbercracker's house across the way, and in the doorway of Mr. Nebbercracker's house, he sees his kite that was taken away from him when he was younger. So, of course, he goes to retrieve it, but he is then abducted by the house itself. It's very spooky stuff indeed. DJ and Chowder then decide, we're going to investigate this house. And they assume that Mr. Nebbercracker, who they think is dead, is now haunting the house. Honestly, this scene is so good. The house appears to look like a face, and honestly, for me, it's super iconic, and it hits you right in the nostalgia feelers. It's super nice. The following day, on Halloween, we are then introduced to Jenny Bennett, who is selling candy for her school, Westbrook Preparatory. And this is so 2006. Jenny, who is now selling candy door to door for her school, goes up to the monster house, attempting to sell candy to it, not knowing that it's a monster house, of course. However, the two boys, DJ and Chowder, manage to save Jenny, who is selling the candy, right as the monster house comes alive, and it even eats Jenny's wagon full of candy, which is just tragic. Also, the writing of this movie is so good. Honestly, super entertaining, and even today, it still makes me laugh. After the incident, Jenny decides to call the police, who send out 2 officers by the name of Landers and Lister. And these 2 characters are actually hilarious, and funny enough, they're voiced by Nick Cannon and Kevin James. So you already know. They come out to investigate the house, but of course, the house stays quiet when the officers arrive, and they quickly dismiss the report. Moving along, DJ, Chowder, and now Jenny decide that they're gonna have to consult, maybe like a supernatural poltergeist expert. So they go to a young man by the name of Skull.
I'm busy playing a video game without even looking at the screen.
Skull speculates that the house must be a rare type of monster that has been created by the fusion of a human spirit and a man-made object, aka the house, otherwise known as Domus Mactabilis. And this can only be undone when they destroy the heart of the object. The trio of DJ, Chowder, and Jenny decide to construct a dummy out of a vacuum cleaner, a Halloween mask, and some old clothes, and they fill it with cough syrup that Chowder winds up stealing from a pharmacy that his father owns, which is a little bit sketchy, you know what I mean? They then send the dummy to the house in order for the house to eat it, hoping that they can make the house fall asleep. That way they can locate the house's heart, which they believe is the furnace, since the chimney has been smoking ever since Nebbercracker suffered his heart attack. The plot thickens. But of course, officers Landers and Lister foil the plan, and they discover the stolen medicine. Those fools! Those fools! Honestly, this is probably my favorite scene in the movie, though. Nick Cannon, who voices one of the cops, is just so funny. He is like telling the 10-year-old little kid Jenny to respect the badge, and kind of taunts her into trying him, and he's like, "You don't want none of this." Like, honestly, I was laughing really hard at this scene.
You disrespecting the badge? You don't want none of this.
Finding the stolen cough medicines, the officers arrest the trio of kids, but the house soon eats all of them. The children soon find themselves separated from the officers, and they explore the sleeping house, and they wind up inside of its basement, which is very scary, very scary. They find all the toys that Nebbercracker has taken from the neighborhood kids, and using the key that DJ picked up earlier, they are able to unlock a circus cage that is inside the basement. Inside this circus cage, they find a shrine to Nebbercracker's deceased wife, whose name is Constance the Giantess, whose skeletal remains are actually like encased in cement, which is pretty terrifying. I mean, can you imagine you're 10 years old and you find a skeleton just, encased in cement in someone's basement? Like, no.
Nope.
No. And allegedly, this may have been a feeder type situation, but that is just speculation. So don't come for me. DJ winds up falling onto the cement that encases Constance's remains, and it shatters them, which awakens the house, and of course the house winds up attacking them. And this scene is completely unhinged, and honestly it's really scary because this could have ended really, really badly for these 3 children. So it's a miracle that no one was harmed. Luckily, Jenny is able to save them, and the house winds up vomiting and throwing them up outside onto the lawn. It's honestly crazy. So as they are thrown up, DJ decides, you know what, I've had enough and I'm going back home, and he steps out into the street where an ambulance nearly runs him over. Like, who gave these people licenses to drive? Aren't you supposed to save people's lives, not run them over? We then learn that Nebbercracker is actually alive, and he has returned from the hospital. He then reveals to the children that the spirit of Constance, his wife, is actually the ghost that is possessing the monster house.
Nope.
He then gives us a little backstory and explains that when they first met, Constance was actually like a hostage in a circus, and she was basically a freak show who was, being made fun of and ridiculed for her obesity. And this is just so messed up. Like, they had this woman held hostage for being obese, y'all. Like, they need a little dose of Lizzo in their lives, you know what I mean? Nebbercracker instantly fell in love with Constance and eventually helps her to escape the circus. He then later marries her and begins construction on a house for both of them, which is really nice. Sometime later, as they're building their house on Halloween night, some children come by and they begin to make fun of Constance, and they throw little rocks at her. Of course, this upsets Constance, and she kind of loses her cool, and she tries to chase them off with an axe, which is like Not good. You don't chase children with an axe, people. Like, that's a big no-no. Luckily, her husband, Nebbercracker, tries to stop her, but as he tries to stop her, she trips and she accidentally falls into the basement, and the cement that he was using to pour the foundation of the house falls on top of her, which I guess explains why her skeletal remains are encased in cement. Pretty sad. So see you later, Constance. You will be missed. Nebbercracker then finishes the house in memory of his wife, but he quickly learns that her spirit has actually merged with the house, creating sort of a monster house type situation, type deal, type moment. It's not good. It's not good. DJ then convinces Nebbercracker that they must put Constance's soul to rest. Hearing this conversation, Constance, the monster house, just gets enraged, and she uses 2 of the nearby trees in her lawn to actually lift the house from its foundation. And then she just chases her husband and the children to a nearby construction site. And honestly, if a house was chasing me, I probably would poop my pants. But let me know, what would you do if a monster house was chasing you? How would you react? Let me know down below in the comment section. The house is alive! It's so scary, bro. It's so scary. The old man, Nebbercracker, actually tries to calm down Constance and explains that this is all for the best and that she needs to leave those children alone. But she soon realizes that this is all just a distraction and that his true intentions are to destroy her and the house with some dynamite. So she winds up attacking him. Super nar, and it's very 2006, guys. We then see DJ's friend Chowder save the old man Nebbercracker from the monster house using the excavator from the nearby construction site. Insane. The monster house then attacks Chowder inside the excavator, and it's nuts, but he manages to lure her to the nearby crane that is also in the construction site. We then see DJ, our main character, swing onto the crane's hook with the dynamite. He eventually is able to drop the dynamite into the chimney, which is actually the house's heart after all, and this causes an explosion that destroys the house. This is extremely dangerous, but you go, King, you go. The things kids would get into in 2006 were just so dangerous. Like, now people just, chill and play Roblox, but this guy's out here swinging on a construction crane, throwing dynamite at houses. Like, it's so 2006, guys. Finally free after being trapped for 45 years, Constance's spirit is then able to briefly reunite with Nebbercracker before she actually moves on to the afterlife. Nebbercracker then happily thanks the children for helping free them from their suffering. And honestly, we can all shed a little tear over this. It's okay to feel feelings, everybody. In the aftermath of the house being destroyed, we then see the group of DJ, Chowder, Nebbercracker, and Jenny all gather at the house's somehow still intact basement. They wind up returning all of the toys that Nebbercracker has taken over the years to the rightful owners, who just so happen to be trick-or-treating at the destroyed house. And I just want to ask ourselves, what kind of parent are you to let your kid trick-or-treat at a burned-down house? Not sure about that one. DJ's parents return home, and we see that Chowder and DJ finally decide that, you know what, they're not too old to go trick-or-treating, and they decide that it's candy time after all. It's pretty good. It's a very good ending to the movie. During the outro of the movie, we then see the house's victims emerge from the basement completely unharmed. This includes the 2 officers from earlier, a dog, and Bones. We then fade to black. Sha 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 sha. The movie ends. So, was Monster House worth watching? This is an easy yes for me. It has some of the best Halloween and fall vibes out there, and it easily hits you with a really good sense of nostalgia. And honestly, this movie is just a whole mood, a whole vibe. It's amazing. We can then top it off with some really wonderful voice acting by some very well-known actors, and it has some pretty decent animation, so it's honestly a little hard to not like this movie. If you haven't seen it already, you should definitely make it a point to watch it this fall. I promise you, you won't regret it. Alright, that wraps up today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And let me know down below in the comments, what's your favorite Halloween movie or one that you just like to watch around this time of year? Much love to you all, and peace!
Happy Halloween, doofus!